Christian parenting.
Support for Paradox comes from the Timothy Center, your online counseling center, no matter where you live. The Timothy Center is a faith-based counseling center in Austin, Texas, offering online teletherapy for those that live in Texas but outside the Austin area. If you have questions and would like to consult with Jimmy, Josh, or one of their licensed professionals, visit them at timothycenter.com. Recording live from Austin, Texas, powered by the Christian Parenting Podcast Network, a conversation about marriage and family that women will love and guys won't want to turn off. Doctors Jimmy Myers and Josh Myers are a paradox.
Guys, welcome to the show. This is Paradox, and I'm Josh.
And I am Jimmy, and we spent quite the Sunday afternoon
Thank you for joining us. I didn't feel like I fully greeted them.
Oh.
We are so happy to have you.
Yeah.
Do I sound excited?
Uh-huh.
Man, it is a joy to be with you today.
What would be a joy is us talking about yesterday afternoon. Because we're going to do a chapter out of the book Fearless Parenting, where any fine books are sold. The book that I did in 2017 with George Barna. And in 2017, so that would have been 3 years ago, you had children, but were any of them doing sports 3 years ago?
Yeah, Ruth.
What'd she do?
She started the whole little soccer and t-ball at 3 and 4. Yeah,
4.
She'd have been 4.
Well, it's full bore now. You have 3 children, all of them.
All in pushing.
I was going to say, take up my weekend, being forced to go and watch them.
We are doing 4 and under for U soccer.
Yes.
6U t-ball and 8U softball.
Yes. So we had Sammy, who's the 3-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
Yesterday. And you had to bribe him unless he went in and played, he would not get a treat.
Any good, and you know this, any good Myers man can be bribed.
Is moved by food, primarily.
Really only by food, though.
But
what would I have to treat you to get you to play soccer?
You couldn't afford it.
What would it be? Pork chop at Perry's?
A pheasant pot pie.
Where would the pheasant have to be from?
Southern Wyoming. Which is, I just got back.
Did you bring your birds?
No, Steve has any of the birds that we brought home. We ate most of them.
Oh, nice. Well, on the trip.
When we were up there, we all kind of got together and
just you would kill them and then just rip them
we got
apart
back
in the
to
field.
Breckenridge. As a family and everybody, we consumed most of those. We started. It got me thinking about because everyone's cheering on, and when you're in 3-year-old soccer, you don't necessarily have a lot of sports parents that are screaming about your footwork and hiring position coaches. Normally, that's not happening in 3-year-old soccer, but it started me thinking because when you look at the 8-year-old softball that's taking place,
woof, we get killed.
Yes. But you also have some parents there and some coaches there that are starting to get a little ramped.
Yes.
And they're yelling.
And we don't ramp.
No.
Our team does it. Some of our parents can ramp, but our team and our coaches don't ramp.
Exactly. Why it's a great environment. But it reminded me of just, readdressing, because one of the chapters in the book was called The Push. And it's about our kids in sports. And just the whole sports kind of thing that is going on now. And when you have your child participating, and I got to tell you, I look at that, and not Sammy and Sully or anything, but I mean, because they're too little. But you start looking, you go, ooh, hey, some of my grandkids look pretty good, actually. Ruthie can tag that ball.
Mm-hmm. Right, just 3 feet in front of her.
Why her walk-up song is Hammer Time. Dun, 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 don't touch this. So I get it, because I'm starting to get there again. You're just now entering into where they're actually kind of playing now,
yep.
And you kind of see they have a little talent or not, and so it becomes a thing. And you get all excited if they get asked to join a travel squad when they're 9, and it'll only cost you $4,000 for uniforms, and they're gone 52 weeks out of the year. It just gets crazy. So I thought it would be a good time to readdress this issue. We talked about it on the show before, just about kids in sports. So real quickly, just some numbers. There are, I forget how many, something like 58 million kids under 18 in the United States, something along those lines, around 60 million. Well, 40 million kids play sports of some kind. 40 million kids. Now, less than 20% of those will play in high school. So if your kid is playing a sport in high school, they're already a winner. But when you talk about now graduating seniors, what percentage of them will go on to play professional sports? 0.04%.
Wait.
They don't.
So high school athletes, varsity athletes, 0.04 make it to the bigs?
Yeah.
That's surprisingly high.
Yes. And by the way, the numbers aren't that much greater to go play college sports either. So for the most part, your kid is going to play sport. They're not going to play professional. They're not. They're just not. I would tell you, do not plan on winning the lottery for your retirement, and don't anticipate your child playing professional sports.
Unless he's a Myers.
Well, yeah. So it's if parents go into it that way, but I think just down deep someplace, these parents want this child.
Mine's going to be the one.
Yes. They already have this 30 for 30 going on in their head. They're going to
just
explain.
Remember him when.
Yeah, my father, my inspiration.
He would never take the field at 3.
He wouldn't go out on the field.
But then he turned it around.
Oh, so your kid's going to play sports until he's about 14. Then he's going to move on. That's the vast majority.
Yeah, the overwhelming vast majority. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's the strangest thing because growing up, most prize athletic ability, and that's the child and the parent. But there's really only a 6-year period in one's life that it matters how far you can throw a ball. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we spend so much time looking forward to those 6 years and then looking back at those 6 years, it's insane.
Preach it.
That in adulthood, the things that are going to be able to be carried with you are musical instruments and art, painting and stuff. And not that you just need to quit sports because they're meaningless. Obviously, you can learn a ton of great things for them.
Great things. I'm very pro sports.
It can't be all we look forward to and look back on.
Well, it's like, football. In Texas, football is a big deal. And, it's always said, you play it for 4 years and you remember it for 40. Mm-hmm. We went back a few years ago to our high school reunion.
What did you talk about?
Oh, well, most of them, wanted me to recount my exploits on the football field. Yep. It got embarrassing.
Your honorable mention, all districts.
And I can't believe do they really have patches for that? Oh, so we were moving once. I'll just fill you in. And we found my letter jacket that I was so proud of. And Josh looked at it because Josh actually did well in high school sports. So he had one of the, the letter jackets where there are patches down both sleeves and the back and all that stuff. And so he pulled mine out and he went, honorable mention, all district. They had patches for that.
All those letters fit on the patch.
Oh man, that was a knife. That was a knife to my soul.
Number 60.
Mm-hmm. Number 1 in your hearts. So you see them. You see the sports parents. You see those parents that are taking this way too serious. You see the parents that their kids' performance is all about them. You see them. You see them everywhere. And so those parents are the ones that exemplify the push, where the parents are pushing the child. So we thought we'd have about 6 warning signs that you might be involved in the push. And the first one being parents are getting their own need for self-worth fulfilled through their child sports performance. This is characterized by, again, caring more than the child. Number 2, year-round
And I think maybe a practical, if you have a child that doesn't want to go to the batting cage every day, simply talk with them through that choice. Sweetheart, if you ever want to hit,
you like hitting
1 out of every 100 pitches, maybe you should go to the batting cage.
Yeah.
And if they're like, oh, I get that, but no. If you're dragging them to the batting cage, you're pushing.
Yes. There's another warning sign is year-round non-stop sports. That the year is just one long, never-ending season. You just change balls and uniforms. So it was in the day. I looked forward to Little League season, right? Oh my gosh, with a uniform, I get these cleats. Well, now there is no Little League season. It just washes into basketball season and football season and soccer season and lacrosse. It's just one never-ending year-round sports that the kids never get a break from playing a sport of some kind. The third warning sign that as a parent you may be pushing is year-round specialization. Now, it's no longer I'm playing all these sports all year long. It's that I am playing baseball year-round.
And I'm 7.
And I'm going for Tommy John surgery when I'm 10 because these idiot adult men are telling this baby child to throw curveballs when his tendons aren't even mature enough to do that.
You can't call idiots.
They're boo-boo heads, is what they are.
That's better.
So if they specialize in this year-round, and I remember talking to Brad McCoy, who was Colt McCoy, who was the quarterback at UT, and then he went up, and he's still in the NFL as a backup quarterback. And all 3 of Brad's boys went on to play Division I football. 2 of them started at the University of Texas over a period.
Where did the third go?
Somewhere. I don't know. So
you're just going to throw out a stat and just not back it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I asked him, I said, well, hey, Brad, you are like every sports dad's dream come true because all 3 of your boys achieved. I mean, and they like the highest levels of football specifically. And he said, yeah. He said, but I didn't ever. They all just did it. They all just wanted. They played basketball and they played football and they played baseball and so it was just this thing within their kids. And he says, people have asked me what I did to produce these. I didn't do anything to produce these kids. Which, by the way, is a truth for parents, especially dads, to embrace. And that is professional athletes are born, they are not created. You've got to have a freakish physique, a freakish body, a freakish work ethic, and a freakish talent. All of those together. And if you lack one of those, you don't go.
You only had 2 of them.
Exactly. Finally, someone understands. A fourth is all other aspects, so this is a warning sign of the push, is that all other aspects of the family's life fade away. And the entire family worships on the altar of whatever little sport that the kid is doing. Number 5, you care more than the child cares about the wins, the losses, the whole thing. And this is when you graduated and you were offered a scholarship, but like a Division II or whatever. And I was so excited because of the thought that I had sired a college athlete. And
D2.
And you said, are you out of your mind?
No way.
I'm so sick of this. What? No. I mean, I was because apparently I cared more. I was into it more than my son. So, and here's the last thing. And this is the biggie. If you don't know whether you're pushing or not or whatever, here's the thing. When your child is playing sports, do you respond with anger? That's it. That's the number one distinguishing factor. And if you'll think about it, why would a parent respond in anger
at a sport
to a child's sporting event? You missed a block. you struck out 3 times during the game.
You didn't run through first base, like I've told you 15 times.
Yeah. So it's not, oh, I'm disappointed or my heart breaks because I know you're disappointed. It's I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm angry that you did not perform. If you're getting angry, and you see, just the other day at the little 8-year-old soccer, there was a dad yelling. And he's, she hit it 5 feet or whatever. And you heard this dad yell from back going, come on.
8-year-old soccer?
No, so it was softball. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Just a dad said, come on, so-and-so. And just like he'd held it in. He couldn't take it anymore.
As the coach, I drowned out the crowd noise.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to on that level. So what do we do about it? What do we do about this other than stop it? Stop it. Your child isn't going to be playing professional sports. 9 out of 10 chance he's not playing or she's not playing college sports. So just go have fun and go home and let it be what it is. But the solution is, first of all, you want to define what success is. Do you want to avoid the push? Well, what is it to succeed? Is your success playing pro sports? Is that it? Is your success getting a scholarship? Is that what success is to you? Or is it getting better? Is it having fun?
Are we letting the kid define success? Or are we
No, as a family, we decide.
As a family,
yeah,
okay.
Decide what success is. Because everyone may have a different definition. For example, your child may have a different definition of success than you do. So define what that is. So we're all on the same page with the same expectations. Number 2 is, again, letting the child lead. I personally think it's very important for kids to be involved in team sports. I just think there's a boatload of life lessons to be learned from doing team sports. Not just golf or tennis, which are great and wonderful, but there's a lot to be learned from team sports. However, let the kid lead. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, you're going to play a sport. And that's one sport over one season, and then you can have the rest of your year, but you're going to play a sport. Because as a parent, I think that's important, because I think there are life lessons to be learned from that experience. I think socially it helps you to play a sport when you get into secondary school. So,
and you say your point is with letting the child lead, you're not forcing practice, you're not forcing positional coaches, you're letting them lead in how much they want. You can maybe again say one sport, but then let them take the bull by the horns. Mm-hmm. But on that same token, potentially the same coin, just on the different side, the family has to come first.
Yes.
I know one of your problems was that the family doesn't come first. I think that's something, your family takes the back seat. But if you constantly find yourself exhausted because of too many sporting events and angry all the time, not necessarily at performance, but just you're tired and you're bitter that you can't just sit on the couch all the time. If your family life and schedule is driven by sports, there's potentially a problem. I'll give you a real quick example of a family I met with a few years back. The kid was in middle school and training to be a gymnast and go to the Olympics. He came in first session. I was meeting him. I was like, well, I'm kind of do some CrossFit and some gymnastics myself. You planning to be in the Olympics? Jokingly with him, and he said, "Yeah, probably 2028." Like he was on track.
Yes.
But he would practice during the week, but he never attended competitions on the weekends because his older brother and sister had debate on the weekends. And his parents were like, your time will come. Your job right now is to support your older brother and sister. A kid training to be in the Olympics.
Nice.
And he had to take a back seat because his family came first. I thought that's such a great picture of that point.
Here as a parent, especially a Christian parent, you're raising your kids and you pray before bed and meals and you do devotions, and then your kid gets invited to a select lacrosse team and they have tournaments every Sunday. And the parent goes, yep, absolutely. Church? What church? It almost like null and voids everything you've ever taught that child. Are you kidding? Are you, select? Are you kidding? My child, is it so special that he's on a travel team? Of course we'll flush church for that. It's just crazy. I had a client several years ago, and same deal. The kid was on a travel team, and he got invited to some tournament that was going to cost like a couple of $1,000s or whatever. And the dad went with the kid to that tournament. They used the money that the family was going to use to go to Disney World to pay for that. And the dad said, "I don't know. The two younger sisters. Oh no, they'll understand. They'll be very excited that he."
Yikes!
Really? Oh, really? I'm sure those little girls were really excited for Bubba, who gets to play in this tournament. So, anywho, so the last thing is, and we'll get out of here. It is no matter what your determination of whatever success is, no matter, you teach your child that you try hard, you work hard, you practice hard, you play hard. Because Paul said in Colossians that we do everything like we're doing it for Christ. So you give it everything. You give it everything, not necessarily just to win, but you give everything because it's who you are. And excellence, whether that's in academics or it's in music or it's in sports or whatever, you do everything as though you're doing it for Christ. And so it's not wrong at all to teach your kids to play hard. Get after it. Do the work. I mean, all that's very, very important, but it doesn't have to be evidence of the push. It's just, no, we just want to have excellence, and we want to learn to what we do. We give it everything we've got to go do it. And at the end of the day, when your child succeeds on whatever level, that's great. Perfect. Wonderful. Go to college and have a great life instead of living in disappointment for what might have been sports-wise.
You still disappointed about my sports?
Oh, Lord, yes, every day. Every
day. If you want more information about this episode, you can go to paradoxpodcast.com. You can also go to christianparenting.org/paradox. You can find our other episodes there as well and our socials. We thank you guys for listening, and have a good day.
See ya.
For more information about the voice of the Paradox Podcast, Julie Lyles Carr, go to julielylescarr.com. And if you want more details about what was discussed on today's show and find the archive of all our past shows, go to paradoxpodcast.com.